As we close on Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we have some very special hometown heroes to introduce to you this month. They're called the Founding Mothers, and this is their story. 50 years ago, Nixon was in office, Secretariat won the Triple Crown, and Holly Greer, Patricia Miklo, Carlin Rapport, and Sally Mae helped establish the Women's Center. But before that, these women had a passion for a change in a time that was very different for women than we think of today.
We had a lot of issues we were trying to deal with, like
women couldn't have credit cards.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a loan. Right. Sally had difficulty setting up a business unless her husband signed on as the loan. The library wouldn't issue a library card in our own names. It had to be Mrs. James Rapport.
The library card was the first issue these women, along with others, protested in consciousness-raising group sessions they held.
We got caught up in the idea that after reading The Feminine Mystique, that we really needed to do our own consciousness-raising groups. So the first one we had was at my house, and I think we might have had maybe 50 people there. And we divided into smaller groups, and we were really regarded as the radical groups of women bringing these ideas at that time. I mean, this was like 1968.
And some were not exactly receptive to what these ladies were fighting for, but they didn't give up on making their voice heard.
We had been raised in a culture that constantly told us that there were certain things we could do and certain things we couldn't do because we were women. And we were living in a culture that was really repressive, but we didn't know that. I mean, until we started questioning, this whole thing. So it was really fascinating, and really an eye-opener. And it was then at that point that we started wondering if maybe the NMU could start, a women's center, and so we ended up having a conference called The Changing Role of Women in the 70s, and there were about 150 women that came from all over the UP.
The community needed a place dedicated to helping those in danger from an intimate partner violence and assault, and these women saw that need.
I'm a retired speech and language pathologist, and I've worked at Marquette General, and my colleague and I started the rehab department, and I had a series of patients that were my patients because of traumatic brain injury they suffered as a result of domestic violence, and there was no place for them to go. And I mean, their own families were very concerned about what the perpetrator might do to them if they offered shelter to the
rightly
family.
So, yeah.
And so that was an eye-opener for me. I just could not stand idly by. And even what came out of this is that we provided shelter in our own homes. It was very evident that there were many places in town, the agencies, faith communities who were trying to help the person in front of them arrive at a solution. But each one of these, whether it was Lutheran Social Services or Child and Family Services or whatever, that this person presented themselves to, that people were working in silos. They weren't working on a collaborated, coordinated effort by the community to help deal with the problem of domestic violence. Now, the police chief dealt with it by picking up the perpetrator and driving him to Presque Isle and just leaving him off there and saying that he'll cool off when he has to walk back home. Well, of course that it was not a cooling off period for that walk. So that's what we were dealing with. And out of I worked not only with people that were evolving the Women's Center and so on, but the American Association of University Women helped me gather all of these agencies together to form a spouse abuse task force so that we could look at what was needed. And while the conference pointed to the need for the Women's Center, the spouse abuse task force pointed to the need for shelter.
Each of the 4 founding mothers had a strength in helping to make the Women's Center what it is for survivors. And 50 years later, they are proud of the lasting legacy it has had on the community.
I think a tribute to people from this region that they felt strongly that these resources need to be available for people, and both male and female, and children. You know, it is quite remarkable, and I think the community needs to be justly proud of that.
And for these strong women, they want to encourage the next generation to stand up for their rights and let their voices be heard.
As you look at this, what a community has been able to do, that I hope that it will inspire young women and women of all ages to vote for their rights. Because we need an equal rights amendment, which is not, I had hoped that would be accomplished in my lifetime. And at 88, you know, I wonder, because it's in trouble.
Women have decided that if someone tells them they can't do it, then they're going to do it for sure.